Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I believe that our human species, we all are insect eaters. It's very simple, and I'm going to tell you how I came to that particular conclusion. That's what I'm going to do today. So, in 16 December of the last year, the Food Inspection of Belgium created a list with 10 insects which may be used in food. It's for the food industry to make some things that we can eat. And it was a very brave movement of that governmental service, the first in Europe to do such a thing. And I believe also the first in the world, in the civilized world. As for the tropical countries, there eating insects is a very, very old and very common practice, a very common use. And there are no objections about that. There are also no laws to prohibit or to control that, and that's a totally other question. And me, myself, I'm eating insects on a regular basis since 1995, and that was after the Royal Antwerp Society for Entomology has made an annual exhibition, and they brought that topic to attention of the public, the great public. But my first insect I've eaten in 1964, and that was when I was in the army, and that were cockroaches. Cockroaches invaded the kitchens everywhere in all places where soldiers were caseinated, and it's normally they slipped into the food for the soldiers, and it was very simple. It was eating them or eating nothing. So I eat them, and I discovered that it was very simple. You don't die from eating insects, and you even don't went sick. That was the first contact. Being an entomologist, I was busy with scientific work, and in 1990, I started collecting papers about entomophagy. Entomophagy, that is the scientific term of eating insects, but I don't like the word. It seems me more like a disease or a bad habit, such as pedophilia, and I don't feel really an entomophagist when I'm eating insect. I eat it every day, and I don't feel an entomophagist. I'm just eating, simply like that. Now, the papers we collected, they were, the topic was proteins. And the data we obtained from them, they were also very high, 69%, 75%, but that's not realistic. And those data, they came from the French investigators. The French investigators, they give the data for dried insects, and the other countries for living insects. And then we have the data here, which resemble more what we find in a steak or in chicken or fish meat. And in 1997, I found a very interesting article in National Geographic magazine from America, and that was called The Dawn of Humans. The topic was the first human peoples, the first humans, 4 million years ago, the Australopithecans. And one of the anthropologists who was interviewed in the article, he stated that the first humans were insectivores. They were insect eaters. And that was a new point of view for me, and it sounds great and logical. So I have imagined what Australopithecans as Lucy could eat. They were gatherers. They were not yet hunters. They were gatherers. And insects, they don't need to be hunted, so you can gather them and eat them. It's very, very simple. It's a very easy thing. But the thing that made them human was their special brains. And the brains of the Australopithecans they had the first neocortex. So what does a neocortex do? Well, they permit to make tools. Tools from stones, from other things, tools on purpose. Not only simply because they have time to do it, no, they want a tool to make something, to cut plants and so on, and meat and so on. And that is only possible because the neocortex permit the use of the fingers independently. If we go to the other primates, such as the gorilla or a tamarin, well, they only can do the pincet grip. The pincet grip, the thumb opposite the 4 other fingers. And that's what human babies also do up till the age of 2-3 years. Then they can use their fingers independently. And that's a very important move, because doing so, we can use our brain. For doing that, the brain of the humans, they must work constantly to control these movements. But it permitted them a lot of things, to make tools to hunt. And from then on, the Australopithecans and later the ancestors of them, the Homo habilis, the Homo rudolfiensis, Homo neanderthalensis, and finally Homo sapiens, they were hunters and gatherers. And that's what we are. Normally, they ate, the Australopithecans, they eat insects, they eat fruits and nuts and greens and so on. And their homeless hunt that were the savanna lowlands of Africa, Central Africa. But then from there, the ancestors, they spread over the whole world, and they began hunting other animals. The other animals they hunted especially for the skins, because the skins they made possible to protect them against sun, against rain, against ice, against wind, and so on. And the technique of hunting was possible also because we had a neocortex and we could use our fingers, and we could make several other things. 10,000, 11,000 years ago, the people, Homo sapiens, also began to produce a form of agriculture. They started producing food on a limited space from vegetal and animal origin alike, and they wanted to produce that, and so they became independent from nature. Is it a good move? Is it not a good move? I don't know, but it's certain that especially the contact with the different animals that made sure that they become sick. The Homo sapiens is the only primate who has more than 100 diseases which exist nowhere else in nature. So we have finally the need of a mass of medicaments to but the neocortex has many good things, but that also corrupted something in our existence. But the use of the hand permitted us more other things. First, with the hunt, we can cooperate, and the cooperation is possible by the fact that we can speak. We are the only animals that can speak. We have a language, or several languages, and we can write, we can make poems, we can make music, we can paint, we can make sculptures, we can build houses, we can make gears to travel around the world. That's what we have done. And we have finally also tried to understand what nature is, how nature works, how all the things interact. And finally also we gather all this knowledge and we give it to the next generations. That's all the thing we could do with our neocortex. But we also have done terrible things with our planet. We also have many garbage problems. And we also have changed our food patterns. And changing the food patterns, that makes another series of diseases that we got and that we don't find in nature. It's dependent simply on the fact that we eat things that are not comprised in our normal DNA pattern. Everywhere in nature, animals, they eat, and what they eat is directed by the genetic code that you have in your DNA. We don't do that. We eat other things, and they may be very good, and you may like them, but they are not very healthy to use. At that time, I became aware of another book, a book of the natuurphilosopher Guy-Claude Bourget. Et Guy-Claude Bourget, he's a French, French-Swiss guy. No, he's not a biologist. He's not a biologist. He's a cellist. But he thinks he has some thoughts about the food. And he came to the conclusion that it is better to follow our instincts about that. And we follow our instincts when we want to multiply, but not with our food. And then there are 5 things that we use now in very large quantities and that are not existing in the prehistory. And that are, first of all, the cereals, grains, wheat and rice, but also all the products we have from the milk products. We are the only animal that use the milk of other animals, and that gives some diseases. You probably don't know that, but it is like that. And there are 3 other things: salt, refined sugar, and alcohol, which are also not included in our initial diet that is directed by DNA. So in 1998, I decided to make an experiment. I submitted myself for a year long to the diet of the Australopithecines. What eat they? Well, they eat fruit, they eat nuts, they eat also many insects, and those many insects, I ate them as raw and as fresh as possible. I wanted to eat them like that, like any animal in nature does, and that makes that I became healthy. Not healthy looking, but I felt my immune system. Now, healthy looking, that's another thing that has other things to do. But I felt my immune system working, and I don't went sick. I went virtually immune for the more modern diseases as a cold or influenza or that. And in 2002, I understood why. Then we had the study of Finke, which a biologist who made a statement that he has investigated more and more deeper as anyone else. And he has concluded that the proteins contained all the 21 amino acids who are necessary, that also the 10 essential amino acids are present in good thing, but there are also 14 different vitamins. And that's very important, but that's certainly why I eat insects raw, because if you cook them, half of the vitamins is away. There are also 12 important fatty acids and also 10 important minerals. If you have looked very good, then there are nearly no carbohydrates in, so you have to mix them with fruits, with other things, And as for the fatty acids, the cockroaches which I have eaten in the army, they seem to be full of lauric acid. And lauric acid is a long of mid-chain lipid that is also a natural antibiotic, and that prevents simply the inflammations. So we can do only the good things by eating insects. And I make them available here in Belgium for everyone who wants to try them. I have them fresh, but I also in deep freezed. And that's very important because I was the first in Belgium and in Europe to do such a practice. I have also made some other stuffs like hamburger, skewers, and cookies. And a very important thing, the last thing that I want to tell, is the very simple fact that compared with cattle, the breeding of insects is very, very ecological. Cattle, the breeding of cattle, that has a problem of manure, and the manure that is certainly the problem of methane. Methane, it's a gas, and it's 23 times more potent greenhouse gas as carbon hydroxide. What you see left, that is a facility where we are breeding mealworms. It's a facility that produces 150 tons of mealworms a year. To illustrate what that means, well, a kilogram of mealworms contains 10,000 individuals. I have for you also some insects to try. They are organized in the Innovation Village during the lunch break. If you want to try, you're welcome. I thank you for your attention and enjoy it. Thank you.